No.
All right. Real quickly, there were a couple of you guys that were gone yesterday. So what you need to have down in your notes is section 9.2, solving quadratic equations by graphing. Is the question about section 9.2?
No.
Is anything deleting?
No.
Okay, let's keep it.
But so that's good. We're in the rushing before we start the lesson.
No.
Nice.
I know, just because there's been 4 people before you, so we just need to get going today.
Oh.
Okay, so section 9.2. Once we get into work, because we will, because this is a super fast section, then I'm going to let you guys just take turns and really quickly go. Just got to hang in there for a little bit. So, we have 3 warm-up questions. People that were gone, it is in the video from yesterday, and it's also... Not right now, Jordan, just hang in there. Okay. So, from the lesson from yesterday, leave space, and you guys, everyone else, should be able to join us right here. All right, zeros of a function. Believe it or not, we've talked about this multiple times. This is right where you left off. Don't start a new sign. Just keep going right where we left off yesterday. It's all one nice section. We're going to finish 9 today. So, zeros of a function. X values of the x-intercepts. That's all I need to remember.
Did Youngson go to Universal too?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, he did. He told me.
So, zeros of a function. X values of the x-intercept. It's okay. Let's get on back in. Now, the nice thing is, you guys saw yesterday, this was not too bad to see if you were given a graph, right? And this section assumes that all algebra kids have graphing calculators, which we talked about yesterday. You guys don't. So you're only going to do a few of the problems from homework. That's why I'm just making it a 1-dayer and not a 2-dayer. We're not doing like multiple sections in homework. We're doing only the ones that have graphs besides one other thing we'll learn on the next side or the next page. So, in letter A, if I ask you to, guys, super easy concept. This is one that everyone should be able to get today and ace on the test. So Dylan and Jay. These are super easy types of problems that everyone should be able to ace on the test if only they could pay attention. So please, please, please let everyone focus right now. Okay. We have a graph of a quadratic. How can you tell? It's a parabola. It's a U-shape. And you guys see in the equation what makes it a parabola or a quadratic, right? The concavity is concave, but the x is squared. The x is squared, right? So it's not just a line. Okay, so looking at the graph. If the zeros are the x values of the x-intercepts of a function, since these ones nicely cross exactly at the crosshairs, exactly at a perfect point of the graph, we can easily say, oh, sweet. So what are the x values? I should use yellow. Because 0, 0 is a point, and then if I go over 1 and 2 and 3, because I can see my tick marks are by ones.
Wait, why do you put 0 first?
You guys said it first technically, but if you would like to write it in the other in the other order, I can write that just to show you it's okay.
So either way is fine then.
I don't mind. Okay, so that's what we saw yesterday. That's what we saw yesterday with the warm-up, right? However, that's for parabolas. Question, does anything change if we have something funky like this that Jordan might see as a cubic function? A very distorted cubic function. Like a cubic function. Ian, what's your question? Okay, good. That's where we're going to answer that. So this is a weird function. If I zoom in on him, is his equation just a quadratic? No. And we could see what this equation is if we needed to simplify this multiplication of polynomials. The multiplication of polynomials would end up having us take this x. You guys remember how we multiply polynomials? Not just FOIL, because it's not enough. There are too many terms. We would multiply x by every term in the second polynomial, and we would multiply the negative 3 by every term as well, if we needed to write it out, which we don't here. That's factoring. So factoring is how to take something that has been all multiplied together and how to get the parentheses. But if you notice, Jay, up here, and Ian, there already are parentheses, so we wouldn't need to factor this one. Okay? At least not this part, because this one is already factored. Now, do you think maybe we could factor this one down a little bit? Probably. Since Ian brought up factoring, it actually has a really big implication to this type of stuff, and we're going to see it in section 9.3 Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. How would we factor this second polynomial, just the x squared minus x minus 2, how would we factor him? Do you guys remember? It's just going to be an easy table because there's no coefficient in front. We're looking at factors of -2. Good. Now what are factors of -2? Yeah, do you want -1 and 2, or do you want -2 and 1?
We don't know.
Well, Adam, right? What do we want?
Oh, we want the top one.
Yeah, if we add the top one, isn't that going to be a positive one? If we add the bottom one, it's going to be a -1. Which one do we want to match our middle term? Yeah, so here we go. What do we do with those? If the last term is negative, the signs, they must change. Got it. So I know that I'm going to go ahead and put in my factors. I have an x, I have an x, I have a -2 or a -2, and a +1. Now, Ian, I'm really glad you brought up factoring. You might not have realized it. However, I'm going to move this off to the side. What are we trying to do right now? We're trying to find the zeros. Kiddos, on the graph, is it pretty easy to see the zeros of this function? Okay.
Yes.
What are the zeros of this function?
-1, 2.
Okay, so without any of that work, you can look at the graph and say, it hits at -1, it hits at 2, and it hits, what was the other one? Those are the answers, guys. Easy points, on like a test or quiz. If you have a graph, the zeros are the x-intercepts. Go find those special points. If it's a little bit off, we'd have to like guess with decimals. It gets a little messy at that point. However, does anyone see any special relationship between these three numbers and those three factors?
Same.
Oh, no, -2.
Not the exact same.
They're the same except the Only the opposite.
Same, but like
The signs are opposite.
opposite.
So wait a minute, is that what happens when we set a function equal to 0? The zeros? Set the function equal to 0.
Yeah, that's.
Do you remember how we solved if we were doing this by hand?
Yeah, you add 3.
Yeah, we would take each of these separate factors and we would set them equal to 0. Now this one's a little harder because there are 3 factors, but the process doesn't change. So Ian, the problem isn't if they give us a graph, it's not to factor. But eventually we're going to get to solving these by hand. And we actually have already been there to where we do factor as much as possible. We set each factor equal to 0. This is another way of finding the zeros. There's 3. There's -1. There's 2. So those are the 3 that show up in the graph. Okay? Now, people with graphing calculators, you can go ahead and try to do what I'm about to do in your graphing calculator. The rest of you are just going to watch because you're going to get one of, it's okay. Because there is a way to do this in your graphing calculator also. Now, Jay, here we go. I got you. I'm going to show you, and I even like the buttons light up, okay? A graphing calculator that you guys might get for Algebra 2. If you hit y equals. Yep. Okay. So Jay, you saw me hit y equals, right?
No.
Okay, so hit y equals, this button right here.
Yeah, I didn't.
If we want to put in this function, guys, there are even parentheses I can use. There's this variable button. So I use a parenthesis above the 8x. What am I trying to put in? That equation right there. So you guys read it off to me. X minus 3. What else?
X plus 1.
Ah, no. Let's do the first one.
Oh.
X squared.
Do you guys see a square on here?
No. Yes.
Yes, right there.
Ah, yeah. Good. X squared.
No.
What else do we have? minus x.
I kind of like that. I wish I had that on my computer.
Minus 2. Okay.
Is there an app?
Enter. It's a really cool tool, but if you don't have the foundation of the basics, it might not help you. Now, if you guys had a graphing calculator, the button's kind of small, but there is a button up here. Jay, which one did you hit?
That one. That's
Yeah.
cool.
If I hit graph, now,
Wow.
to be honest, wait and pause. It looks way different than Jay and Jordan's, but
Where do you?
do you guys know on your phones how you can like pinch and zoom?
Yeah.
You can't do that on the graphing calculator. But what you can do is there are some preset zooms.
I know a website.
Zoom.
Oh, Zoom.
I know a website.
I gotta find one of these.
And if you hit zoom standard, number 6, it makes it nice and pretty and centered where you want it to be.
No, go back. How do you do it? No, go back.
It's
I'll
okay.
do it.
Zoom standard, Jay.
Whoa.
Standard.
No,
Okay.
I just.
That's
What I
okay.
do?
Hit your graph again. Hit your
Oh,
graph again.
Mr. I got it. Is there the homework anywhere?
Yeah.
He's so interesting.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, people have their graphing calculators. It's cool that we can graph it, but guys, that's not the entire point.
You better win. Go to playoffs.
Give you my little.
Alright, let Josh leave without having it ruin our entire lesson.
Did you have a game? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Triple the money.
But guys, hold on. In our notes were the directions just to graph.
No.
No. What were the directions? Find the
Zero.
zeros. So, Jay, you ready?
Yeah.
Jordan, you ready?
Yeah.
How do you use the graphing calculator? Jay, don't face $1 or $5. Okay. If you hit second, people with the calculator, everyone else just look and see what the calculator can do. If you hit second and then trace,
Second. Trace.
there's all kinds of cool parts of a graph that we can find. So finding the zeros of the function. Now, graphing calculators, this isn't the answer, right? 0, 6.
Gives you the Y and
Whoa, that's
Pause.
so cool.
We have to use, come back. We have to answer these questions. So when it says left bound, it means go to the left of a 0. Now, the first 0 that we saw was -1, so we're going to go to
Where did you
the
get that decimal?
left. I'm just moving the button and it's going to jump in itself. Okay?
in there, but like Y.
Am I to the left of the first 0?
Yes.
The answer is yes. I'm down 2, but I'm to the left. And then it asks, please go to the right. You have to give the calculator parameters where to look. So I'm going to go past to the right,
Past what? The Y-axis?
past the x-axis, where it crosses. So I hit enter to the left, enter to the right, and then I hit enter again.
It says guess. No, mine says guess.
Yeah, hit enter again. If you give it the right parameter, it's going to find one. Hey!
Yo, this is actually really cool. I thought it was like
Computer.
And then we go ahead and find the next one, the same way.
That's why Jordan always wants
Please.
That's
But if I want to find the next 0, I have to tell it where to look. So I say, there it is to the left. I have to keep on going to where it goes below.
It's like,
Alright. Now, I know it's hard for some of you guys. You're like, I don't have a graphing calculator. I'm just trying to show you some of the things that you will learn.
Oh my gosh.
Ian, go ahead and just go to the very, very back of the room with all of your stuff. Thanks.
But
Aiden, grab a seat.
that's everything she took though.
So, it's pretty cool that when you guys get to Algebra 2 with word problems, Aiden, it's okay. Did you just stab yourself? Alright, let's hear it.
Piece of it?
Coming on back. When problems get harder, sometimes these graphing calculators, and that's one of the reasons why in Algebra 2, because this is like an electronic age, right? You have iPads, some people, or phones that can do all sorts of
Why
stuff.
don't we use iPads for like our school? It says carrying books everywhere. Because
Imagine what some of your books look like, and imagine what an iPad would look like after too long.
That.
It would look like this to begin with. How do some of your phones look after you've had them for a while?
Boring.
Some of you.
I keep the phone in good condition.
Cut in half.
You're be like the toilet.
And imagine how responsible you are with staying on track when there's not an electronic screen in
I don't
front of
know, let's do
you.
it again.
Maybe it should be like,
Just saying.
like freshmen to like
People
12th
break
grade
games all
have
the
it,
time.
not middle schoolers. That's not.
Freshmen and sophomores scare me.
It's like college.
Okay, so do some seniors and juniors. Alright. Now kiddos, there is one more question that we need to answer today. So back to our notes. Everyone, grabbing calculator or not. Word for word.
A 3D printer.
I'm gonna write
We're gonna write down the second half.
Where's the
400. 400 east, Tyler. 400 east and left. That's where it is. I don't know, dude. I have reflexes. Of being like, disgustingly.
It's not my fault. No, that's Alex's fault.
Angel, quick, you're quick. The rest of you guys in the back, you can handle him needing those notes.
No, dude. I haven't used a calculator for this.
I saw it.
I saw it.
I mean, people have done this before. I wish it. The palm doesn't go. He says, why is it not going up? And they said, and then it goes up. And it's like, did you look at Jeffrey's face when he grew up?
Oh, it smells good.
You want my notes?
Alright, kiddos. So, you should have already written down what's here, so I'm gonna go fast. Hopefully you guys catch it. The standard form of a quadratic is y equals, except if we're trying to solve, I'm actually gonna write it a little bit backwards. I'm gonna go ahead and write it ax squared plus bx plus c equals, if you're trying to find the zeros, so it's standard form trying to find zeros, and this would be not with a graph, this would be like algebraically for solving. We would set everything equal to 0. We would put the quadratic on one side in order, the x squared and then the x and then the c. And then we would have a 0 on the other side. Just like you guys saw me do a second ago. I had an equation. I said equals 0 and I solved by factor. You can believe it. You use what's there, Jay, with the y.
I'm just not saying I can do that.
No, but what you can do is y equals that.
Why you do it?
You mean for letter A? Hang in. Because right now there's stuff on either side. Exactly. So Kaylee's saying, well, if that's standard form, looking up above, if that's the standard form of the quadраtic, and there it is, this one doesn't look like it, right? So I need to get it into standard form. Algebra says we can move something from one side. Does that make sense?
Oh.
Now, hold on. This starts to look kind of weird because some of you would think
Right.
if I write negative 12x below,
It's 3, 5, 1, 13, 1, over B5.
okay, so they're coming back. Guys, Alan, can you come up behind the baby so I can see you better? Thank you. Okay, so we are used to moving things to the other side, and when we do write them, we can go ahead and combine. The question, why am I not allowed to do 36 minus 12? Ian. Good. The terms are different in the sense of one has an x and one doesn't. Why don't I do 1 minus 12?
No.
One has an x squared and one doesn't have an x squared. So kiddos, if I write it like this, can you understand that I cannot put anything together?
Yeah.
Now wait, hold on. Why did I write it in this order? Was there a reason?
Yes.
Caleb, go ahead and move back one so I can see you better, Ben. Thank you. Yeah, I need my ax squared plus bx plus c.
And then 0.
So, guys, look at the directions. Write the equation in standard form. Does it match? Exactly. Johnny, Johnny, well done. That's it.
That's it?
Yeah.
That's it?
No.
Cool.
Algebra allows us to move things around. Now, guys, this technically puts it in a form where if you had a graphing calculator, Jay, here's the answer to your question. If you had a graphing calculator, now that you move this around, you can put y equals, and you would type that in. And then you would go find the 0, like I just did, using that stiffy function. But for the rest of you guys that are like, well, what if we don't have them? You would never have to solve this. Listen, listen. You would never have to solve this without me giving you a way to solve it in the sense of somehow factoring it.
And so I can just put it in, so I can.
If anybody is able to do factoring quick, some of you might have seen, hey, wait a minute. I'm able to factor this to be factors of 36 that make negative 12, negative 6, and negative 6. And that could lead you to, I think I see Jordan's graph back there. Is there only one 0, kiddo?
No.
Yeah, it's 6. Yeah, it's 6.
You see it?
Uh-huh.
So what they see is over here at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the parabola comes up and hits and goes right back down.
Let me check. So if it just says write the equation, now this would be the answer. Okay?
Yeah.
So all the rest of this is just, I'm gonna erase it now, but I was showing you what might be coming or where we've been.
This says like write the equation and then graph.
And so, finally. So, you guys go ahead and,
Booyah.
ready? Write in standard form. Ready, set, go.
X squared plus 2x.
I love this thing.
It's really easy.
I love this thing.
But wait, pause. How do we write in standard form?
Just
So just add this.
and then
Kaylee already said the answer,
Yeah,
but real quick, how we would show the work. Because some of you guys know, even if you know how to do a problem, sometimes it doesn't work out right. A mistake happens.
Yes. Exactly. All the time.
Well, here's the dilemma. If you accidentally do something wrong mental math and I don't see work, I can't give you points. If you don't get it wrong, then that's good, right? But I'm just saying, some of us make mistakes, even I make mistakes, yeah? Wait, pause. What am I supposed to fill in? Because something's missing.
Settle. I'm gonna go. Nobody say anything. Don't say anything.
is it for me?
I swear.
It's for me.
That sucks. I've never gotten one of them. Okay.
So, standard form, kiddos, all you gotta do is move everything to one side and make sure you write the x squared first, then the x term, then the c. Now, is this section crazy hard?
No.
Do you see why I'm taking one thing on it? That's it? Okay. So we're gonna go super fast, all together as a class. Super fast. Question. Given the graph, what are the zeros?
-4, -2, -1.
Do you see them?
Yes.
Wait, how did you do that? Oh, never mind. Let's do them all.
It could be a little bit closer.
Wow.
So -4, -2, -1. Some of you might just be peeking who like to think about factoring. You could solve this by setting equal to 0 and factoring, but I'll just leave that alone. We have the graph. We have the graph.
Is that it?
And then, how do we write these in standard form?
Oh, I
Oh,
know.
no. Oh, you say
X
so.
squared.
Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand, raise
Let's do
your
it.
hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Angel.
Okay, go.
It's not gonna write
I
out.
got
I wish
this.
it did.
So you're gonna put minus x squared, minus x squared, cross that out, and put minus x squared minus 3x plus 10 equals 0.
Here's the crazy thing, kiddos. Some of you would have done this a different way, but
Oh.
actually, Angel's way is one way of solving it.
What?
But here's the crazy thing. There's another way, besides moving the x squared, that makes it look a little bit differently. Kaylee, what were you gonna say? Or actually, Johnny, yeah, what were you gonna say?
So you just plus with 3x and minus 3.
You could also add the 3x to the left and subtract the 10 to the left. Now, guys, here's something that is kind of tricky for even like calculus kids to figure out. Are these the same thing? You say no because it doesn't look the same. Makes sense.
Yes, they are because
Even though the signs are different, isn't every sign different?
Yeah.
And every sign different? Whenever we have an equation equal to 0, Every sign, if it's different, it's okay, because here's the reason why. In algebra, couldn't we, look, couldn't we just add that x squared and get positive?
Yeah.
Couldn't we add the 3x and get positive and subtract the 10?
Yeah.
It's just a rearrangement. So it's the same thing, it's just a rearrangement. Justin, go ahead.
Right, the next one.
Yeah, go for it, Ben.
Okay, it would just subtract x squared from it, right? So x squared plus negative x squared plus 2x minus 3.
Now, I'm going to point out something really quick.
Equals 0.
Equals 0.
Yeah.
Justin is right, but he also made a common mistake, and he fixed it, and he was good, because it wouldn't have messed him up. Molly, hang in there, kid. He fixed it, and so now it's okay. But a really common mistake if you try to subtract an x squared is to forget that it's a negative. So actually, just to kind of help you guys out, because I don't like teaching you something that's gonna like set you up for failure sometimes. Okay. So instead of moving the x squared, as much as we can, it's actually better to try to keep that x squared positive, especially for factoring. It's so much better if x squared is positive. So instead of moving the x squared to the left, what am I going to ask you guys to do on this one?
Move everything to the left.
Huh?
Move everything.
Got it.
I was looking at the other one.
It's okay, so we
I
all
will
make
hit
mistakes.
you.
Alright, buddy, don't worry.
So then I can end up with negative 3 equals, guys, hold on, what's on the right side now?
X squared minus 2x?
I need to finish it off, Dylan. What do I do to finish it off? Okay, so we're trying to move things towards the x squared, because he's the top dog. So we're trying to, we moved the 2x already, subtracting, cancel them. Now I want to move this guy. How do I move him if he's a negative?
Plus 3.
Okay, be careful, one.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
It's not bad, just trying to stay focused. What's negative 3 plus 3?
0.
And what's going to be on the other side?
X squared minus 2x plus 3.
It's going to be so much nicer if we had to factor if that x squared is a positive. Cool kids, go ahead and take a picture of your homework. If you do your homework in your spiral, write it down.
I don't think a picture.
You can't, so.
Bet you I can take a picture with anything.
Hey, if you guys have homework paper, go ahead and write it down. If you guys don't have homework paper,
Have you guys seen the picture?
well, you
I
take a
have.
picture so you have it.
I thought we didn't have one. God, the camera's in.
We have more homework. We have 3 now.
Wait,
We have 12 minutes, and I think with that
You've already
lesson,
done
you
it.
guys can finish this puppy up.
Bet.
Now, I'm gonna go ahead and actually put this homework up on the screen. If you guys want to work on this homework, you may. However,
I don't have the answers.
I'm gonna also answer questions if anybody got stuck on numbers 48 and 49. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on the screen. You guys should have written it down by now. Is anybody still writing down the homework?
Yes.
Okay, a couple more seconds.
the first couple, would you find like the x's, like the zeros?
That's what it says, right?
Yeah,
Got it.
Thank you.
Alright, let's do it.
Alright,
Yeah.
so let me go ahead and get out of the notes, kiddos. Let me go ahead and put up.
Oh, God bless, but I don't have
Let's do it.
Pause, wait, be patient. I see that question though, Aiden. Give me a second. Now guys, the beginning of homework is numbers 5 through 12, right?
Right.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and zoom out one more. Guys, respect if someone says stop. Angel. Angel.
I was gonna ask you a question now. Right.
Okay. Right now, you guys are going to silently do one of two things. The very first thing is work on the homework that's on the screen, numbers 5 through 12. It's the first half of homework over the weekend. Okay? You can do that as an option. Option number 2, though. Option number 2, over here on this side of the screen, because you guys only need to see 5 through 12. Some of you might be working on this homework, and I would suggest that if, mostly if you've already done 48 and 49. Over here on this side of the screen, I'm going to show the answers to the evens of number 49, because there were some evens in 49. And if anybody has any questions on 48 or 49, they can come up and ask me if there's like a particular one they got stuck on. Okay? On Monday, we're going to turn in 48, 49, 50. I'm not taking 48, 49 today unless you're able to ask me any questions you have after checking the answers. You can go back and put it in the bottom tray on the right. And that way you don't lose it. It's in. I have it. It'll be safe over the weekend. But one more time, if you have 48 and 49 done, I'm going to put the evens right here. You're going to check them. But over here, if you're not done with 48 and 49, get this homework half done, and I'll scroll to the rest if you guys get this done and are ready to move on. Some of you guys have a book as well. However, here's the dealio. If I see you goofing off or talking, and it's not about math and it's not about a question that you have, I'm going to add to your homework. In pen, I'm going to sign it, and if you don't do those problems, you lose points. So, be productive, working on the homework that you have. Angel, you may sharpen your pencil now, but don't make anyone get extra homework by distracting them. Ready, set, go. I'm going to go get 48, 49 so I can get you guys the evens. People that have 48 and 49 done, I'm getting you the evens for number 49.
Okay, so I tried to plug that in, and it told me,
Raise your hand, Aiden, go ahead. Raise your hand, okay, go ahead.
Right here.
I was gonna ask. I'm probably gonna use it.
Pause, pause. I really don't want to give extra homework right now. Caleb almost got it, Jay almost got it, and Dylan and Kendra almost get it. Get paper. Get your assignment written down.
Oh, I'll take that.
That's okay, Dylan, you go.
I already have.
I'll come around and answer questions. This is for checking 49 if you're ready to check it. And then you guys can work on homework 5 through 12. Guys, in 5 through 8, just find me the zeros. Use the graph to find it. Do you see it? Look, find the zeros. Find the zeros. Find the zeros. Okay. Well, you're supposed to write the question, remember? Otherwise, the A takes off. So you can show a sketch of the graph. Oh, you're looking at the other side? Okay. Molly, I'm coming right back here. Dylan, get this homework done, bud. Easy 100.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's on the X, whatever, X axis. Yeah, like X, like basically 5 to 8 and.
Look at the 37 in black. It's the quadratic and 0, so the graph is Xy.
You guys are joking, right?
No, that's the hardest part.
Section 19 is only one day, so we're gonna be done. You don't need to calculate it. Section 19.